Hello.
Bad.
Hey, everybody.
Will we ever get it right the first time?
No.
Welcome to the Mesoscale
Stylistic.
podcast. It's your host, AL.
And
C-Dubs.
the beloved
CC Dubs.
CC Dubs.
Or actually Chizzy Biggs now, but...
Chizzy Biggs.
Yo!
Every 3 episodes we come out with a new name.
Well, I had Owls last time.
Owls.
Owls. Well, we are back at it again today. And...
Brought to you by Geico.
No. That'd be cool, but no. Announcement.
Are you tired of being tired? Have you been sick of all the same old shitty energy drinks? Well, do I have a treat for you. Right now on Dubby Energy, you can use code MESO10 for 10% off your next purchase. In this economy, we need all the help we can get. That is dubbyenergy.com. Merch! Ever get sick of your same old shitty fashion choice? Lucky for you, that's all about to change. Head over to https:///mesoscale-pod-merch.myspreadshop.com or stab the link below with your clicking mouse.
Thank you for joining us into the podcast. We are just going to kind of jump right in it today. First story we have is... Do you want to say it? Do you want me to?
I'll say it.
Okay.
Let it gush.
By-Hashtagspooky. Spooky, ooh. I feel like we should have waited for this guy for October.
That would have been funny, but no. Nah, I wanted to read this one.
I like #spooky though. Spooky. All right, you ready?
Spooky pooky.
Are you gonna sing him a song?
Oh, yeah.
You do the same melody every time.
#spooky.
Let it gush.
Let it gush.
Let it gush. My entire teenage life.
No, you gotta, it's in all caps. You gotta yell that.
Let it gush. My entire teenage life has been filled with people trying to convince me that my pimples are ugly.
They are.
My mother, the
C.W.
dermatologist.
C.W. Sanders.
Are you just going to write your own? I like popping them.
Yeah. After that one, Jinjito and I think it's house or something.
Ew.
Oh my god.
I hate that name.
They got that sick hoodie. I'm going to buy the hoodie. No, you don't want to say that. You don't want to say that.
Why? Oh, should we edit that out?
You probably should.
Hey, editor, will you please edit this out? All right, let it go.
Just beep it, because I think it's going to be so much funny when they try to figure out what you're saying.
That's too much.
We can't say that. No, you just got to beep it out.
Okay, fine.
Yeah.
My entire teenage life has been filled with people trying to convince me that my pimples are ugly. My mother, the dermatologist she drags me to every month, every slack-jawed idiot I share a sophomore year of high school with, all of them are on some sort of personal vendetta to prove to me that pimples are ugly. Having them makes me ugly, and that being ugly makes me a bad person. All of that is a crock of shit spun up by losers who want to bring me down to their level.
Hell yeah.
There's nothing wrong with having pimples. It's completely natural to have acne growing up. Anyone with a face can tell you that. Having zits means your skin's natural defense system works. Do you want all that dirt and grime and grease and shit to stay in your skin?
Yes.
I don't. That's why I'm thankful for my pimples. But because one asshole in the beauty industry says pimples are bad, we're raised to believe so. Girls my age are taught to think that one little pimple can ruin your day. Or in my case, a full face of them can ruin your life. That's why my classmates make me the oh-so-original name, Pizza Face Penny. That's so sad.
It was kind of funny. It sounds like one of those animatronic names at like a pizza parlor. Pizza Face Penny is gonna sing us The Wheels on the Bus.
That's so
They
sad.
come out on stage.
They're being bullies.
Wheels on the bus go. Just like that.
Stop. They're being bullies.
Be sure to drink your Ovaltine.
They're being bullies to her. You be nice.
Okay, good.
I don't let it get to me since I know it comes from a place of insecurity. They see me, face covered in red boils, some popping through the skin and others still emerging, and get angry. Being unbothered bothers them for some reason, almost like they need me to feel small. And why should I? I like my pimples more than I ever liked people. My pimples are a literal part of me. I like them. Maybe a little too much. One doctor described my face as a leaking honeycomb since it was so full of oozing holes. Despite being experts in this field, they could never figure out why it only showed on my face. They thought it was a skin condition or a freak mutation or even an ancient curse. None of them could conceive the idea that maybe, just maybe, my face looked the way it did because I wanted it to. That is
hold on. She's smothering her face in lard before she goes to bed. Just like by the handful. Oh yeah, this is gonna break out real nice.
That's so gross.
Oh god, this one's gonna be a rough one.
This one is gonna be gross.
It's gonna be like watching a
Everybody,
Dr.
I hope
Popper
you're
video.
not eating because you guys are gonna hate this next paragraph.
Oh god.
All it took was a paper towel and some grease.
Oh, so she.
You literally just guessed it. I simply soaked the towel until translucent.
I diagnosed it. That's what we're gonna do. That's what we're gonna do.
You
when we
diagnosed
predict
that.
something in a story, I diagnosed it.
Once in the shower, I laid the towel on my face until it was so stuck to my skin that I had to peel it off slowly like a Band-Aid.
Fuck!
This caused the zits to grow nice and plump.
Oh, fuck!
The way I like them, big enough for the next stage.
Now, someone should shoot this woman right in the fucking head.
That's
oh my god.
so gross. That's so gross. All right.
Fucking hate this narrator.
Hey,
Can we just skip this one?
I'm a good narrator.
No, the narrator in the story.
Oh.
Can I use my veto?
Nope.
Oh.
Once my mom was fast asleep, I was in the downstairs bathroom for the only part of the day I enjoyed all alone, but with my 3 best friends. A candle, my pimples, and a needle.
Oh god, where is this going?
The only ones who've ever had my back at this time. It didn't take long to find the perfect candidate growing on my face.
Oh god.
More boil than pimple, it stuck out from my cheek. The white head translucent in the candle flame. I saw the prize inside this bubble.
Prize.
And blood.
Fuck you.
Building up on my skin.
You. Shut the fuck
begging
up.
to be released.
Oh my god. This is making me mad.
I held the needle through the flame of the candle until it was too hot to the touch. The sting of the needle by itself didn't do it for me anymore. I needed to burn. The flame was like adding seasoning to a piece of meat. A slight poke was all it took to break the pimple open. A sharp sensation sent a wave of ecstasy through my body. I shivered, holding my hand over my mouth to hide my moans.
Oh, God.
Once the shaking my leg subsided, I placed my index fingers onto the open wound of my face.
She fucking nutted.
One above, one below, and both fingers squeezed with all my might. I couldn't watch with my eyes rolling into the back of my head. but I could feel the pimple burst in half.
This is giving me a headache.
I could feel the blood rushing to my face and out the wound, squirting onto the mirror.
Oh, God.
It squelched as I kept pressing, letting all of the juice hidden inside my skin and pouring all over the rest of my face in yellow, clumpy material.
Oh, God. I'm actually going to throw up. My stomach is churning right now. Like, I feel the bile in my stomach starting to rise up to my throat. Like, I'm actually, like, this is giving me a headache and everything.
The pimple gave out, destroyed completely by my fingertips. One last squeeze for good measure, just to make sure I got every last drop of the wound. This pain was the single greatest feeling in the world. It hurt so brilliantly in a way that only I could control. Like taking myself to the edge of a cliff, testing the limits of how far I could look over without getting scared, only to realize there's nothing to fear. This pain was something I brought to myself nightly. I controlled it, inflicting it on myself as a reminder that I could handle this. I could handle anything. SATs didn't scare me. College exams didn't stress me out. There was nothing this piece of shit world threw at me that I couldn't handle. I knew that for a fact because of the gaping gash on my face, dripping blood, telling me this pain is mine. Washing my hands free of residue, I felt the cold water tingle down and into my eye, causing it to twitch. Without thinking, I placed my soaked knuckle into my eye, rubbing it until the twitch went away. An all too familiar feeling flared, making my face itch. The signal, a whitehead ready to go. One too small for the needle, but too irritated to let live. All it needed was a little squeeze, a kiss goodbye. I placed my fingers onto the source of the irritation and gave it a good squeeze, before realizing what I was about to pop out. My right eye. It throbbed the same way so many of my other pimples did before they met their end. My brain was telling me this was another zit ready to go. It itched, it burned, it screamed at me to pop it. My hand on the sink counter, I took a deep breath, trying to focus on the running tap.
There's no fucking way.
Stay calm. It's all good. There's no way my bony fingers could pop a human eyeball. It was an accident. A slight error in judgment. The first time in a long time, I made a simple mistake. That must be the real reason why I was so scared. Reasons gave way to instinct every time, for underneath my reasoning was a habit, a burning so bad that restraining myself hurt more than any pimple ever did. I could imagine how good this would feel, bigger than any of the others on my face, and so full of pus that it would flood the bathroom. The pain would be so excruciating, so indulging, so wonderful that I wouldn't be able to handle it. Why should this be any different? I had 2 eyeballs. I'm sure I can live with just one, told myself as I lifted my hands,
No.
index fingers pointing. No. What I had to do was escape, get out of this place for good. This room was a graveyard for pimples, and if I stayed in here too long, my eye would soon join the dead. I had to climb into bed and forget this ever happened. That had to be the solution. I hate being wrong. That night was spent tossing and turning. In a frenzy, I lay in bed, worried I would somehow carve out my eye in my sleep, confused it for another pimple. My alarm went off, jolting me out of bed. Morning fog clouded my mind as I ran downstairs and into my mom. She let out a shriek.
Ah!
Your
face! Penny! Your face! It's...
Her smile. Something was wrong. A glint of hope in her eyes. I was not used to seeing that when she looked at me. Not knowing what to expect, I rushed back into the bathroom, dreading what awaited me in the reflection. To my surprise, it was nothing. My eye was fine, right where I left it the day before. But my face, it was spotless. No blackheads, no blemishes to be seen. All the dots had vanished. All the redness in my skin completely gone. And for this first time since I could remember, I could see my bare face. But it wasn't just me in that mirror. It was a truth. One I had struggled to accept for so long that even without pimples, I was still ugly.
Goddamn.
I would always hate the way I look. No matter what, at least the pimples covered up what was really wrong with me. My eyes watered, either from the pain of looking at myself for so long or the stinging feeling of it. Fluid dripped from my eye to the floor, pouring over the inner lip of my eyelid.
God damn it.
I could tell it wasn't water or tears flowing out of my eye. Tears are lumpy. This wasn't water. It was the same goop that filled my pimples, pouring from my eyes, causing it to sting with immense pain. The kind I didn't like, as if something was pressing from the inside of my eyeball trying to get out. That's when I saw it, lingering deep in the back of my eye. A whitehead, a kind that once occupied my face. This had to be a nightmare. Pimples don't grow inside my face. They're supposed to grow on the outside. Before I could rationalize what I was looking at, another appeared next to it. Then another. This time, on top of the other two, a cluster of white dots formed inside my eye, making the pressure worse with each passing millisecond. They stacked on top of one another, unable to fit, pressing against my cornea, causing my eye to swell out of my socket. I couldn't close it. I had too much eye and not enough lid. Screaming, I covered my eye with my hand. I grabbed the needle, crusted it in blood and pus from the night before. I let it hover over my swelling bright yellow eye. It was a poke like any other one, a little sting. It would hurt more watching the needle go through my cornea. I let it slowly slip out despite my shaking hand. Juice leaking from my eyeball, pouring down my face and directly into the mirror, seeping down to the counter and filling the sink. It was clear as water, the complete opposite of the yellow lumpy goop from one of my pimples. The poke did little to ease the swelling. I was still about to burst, either my eye or my entire head at this point. A faint speck lingered in my vision where I had stabbed myself, a piece of dust made from a pure light. Dealing with the pain, I knew what had to come next. Like every other day before this, I placed my index fingers above and below the wound on my face. One deep breath, and I squeezed with all the might in my eyes, with all my might in my fingers. My eye gave a little fight, popping faster than any pimple. With a wetting gush, my eye gave out, bursting down the middle, shooting a clear egg yolk out of my face and splattering all over the mirror, flashing fluid every which way. Gagging, I took a breath, looking at the mirror. Zits made their way out of my eye, emerging from the empty hole in my face, spreading. White dots clogged the inside of my eye socket. I had no choice but to keep pressing until I had gotten rid of every single one of them. A dozen or 1,000, I couldn't tell anymore. But it doesn't matter, I kept pressing, screaming as I did so, unleashing a torrent of yellow, lumpy goop and bright red blood from my eye socket. A flood of fluids rushed out of my face, splattering onto my bare feet and pooling onto the floor. I used to pride myself on how I handled pain, thinking nothing could ever do too much. Every pimple was a test to see what I was made of, that I could get the edge of my limits and skirt past them with every puncture. But this was too much. The room spun around me. My body felt weightless and my legs gave out. I fell right into the blood and goop combo on the bathroom floor. My eye socket still spewing blood, cascading over my face and seeping into my open mouth. My vision was blurry from shock or from the fluid in it. Blood and goop and eyeball juice fountaining from the hole in my face, soaking me as gravity brought it down. If only I could see myself in the mirror now. My mother pounded on the door.
Honey, are you okay? I thought I heard a scream,
she said, her voice fuzzy. My grip on this world was coming loose. I could feel myself slipping. I closed my good eye and let the darkness take me to wherever I was going. I couldn't help but think of what my mom always told me whenever I was feeling bad about myself. Beauty is in the eye of the beholder. So gouge it out and let it gush.
And that was Let It Gush by #spooky.
I love that!
Fucking hated that. Fuck you, #spooky.
You get a 5 out of my book.
I'm fucking never reading your stories ever again.
I love that.
Fucking terrible.
That made me...
Oh my god.
Oh, I loved that.
I actually gagged. Like, I felt my stomach churning the entire time. So, No, you did a good job, dude. But fuck you for fucking being good at this.
#spooky. You know how to create a good story.
That was so gross.
Oh my gosh, that was probably one of my favorite things I've ever read. That was so good. I don't even know what to say. That was so good.
I'm actually sick. All right, that was your episode, guys. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe.
Good. No, we have some more. But that was so good.
Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Thank you for tuning in.
Holy shit. That was so good. That's a 5 in my book. This story is my type of 5.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
Okay.
Oh my gosh.
For personal preference, I would give it a 1. But
it's because he doesn't have a good stomach. So
for the actual story, it's a 5.
Come to fuck off.
But that was fucking disgusting.
That was
Jesus
so good.
Christ.
That was so good.
I was actually
that was so good.
I'm lightheaded. I was my face was just compressed the entire time.
That was one that I couldn't stop reading it because of how good it was.
I'm actually not going to listen to this episode when it comes out.
That made it. That was so good.
Oh my god. I'm actually I'm so sick to my stomach.
I'm shaking with how good that was.
That was fun. It felt very reminiscent of the House by Junji Ito.
Holy shit.
I think we mentioned that last episode, didn't we? No, we mentioned it on this one.
Yeah.
Fuck you. Jesus Christ. I think that was my first crash out.
Holy shit.
And then this is my first crash out. Congrats, #spooky. You caused me to full on crash out.
Congratulations, #spooky.
Jesus.
You made me.
Fuck.
You made me speechless.
Oh god,
That's rare.
Just it just kept calming down, and then it would go right back into it. And I'm like, good. I actually feel nauseous thinking about it.
That was so good.
Did you have acne growing up?
Yes.
Did you?
I still do.
No, okay. I guess. You have one zit every now and again.
I have it on my nose, but they're all blackheads.
I would get acne really bad in middle school.
Your puberty?
Yeah, I was the type that had small patches.
Did you ever pick them?
Oh fuck yeah, I did.
I always pick.
I didn't watch myself pick them.
But I also wash my face even though I pick them.
No, and then I turned I had it from 13 to 15. After 15, I think it just kind of started clearing up, and then 17, I just stopped getting acne.
You just stopped getting acne. Now you get backney.
Yeah, and assney.
Okay, well, no one needs to know about your ass.
It's
all right. #spooky. Oh my god, this was phenomenal.
You owe me.
No.
You owe me #spooky for having to sit through that. You owe me.
Can you just print this off, sign it, and send it to me, please? I gotta frame this story. This is great.
This one.
This was, oh my god, you literally made me speechless. Have I gotten speechless from any story yet?
Yes.
From one, right? Just one?
It was
just one of them, right?
A little off the top. I think so, yeah.
Or maybe 2. But holy shit, that was good. I enjoyed that.
Oh my god.
I'm not even sick.
I'm sick. I'm sicker than shit. I kind of want to end this episode because of how sick I am.
No. Why would you do that to all the audience?
I know.
Oh, that was good. That was so good. Hey, #spooky. Or, actually, if you guys want to know, his real name is Joseph B. Wilk, and his Instagram handle is #spooky.
Hey, Joseph B. Wilk. I'm going to find you.
Whoa, wait.
I have a certain set of skills. Oh my god, I'm still catatonic.
Okay, I think this story was in Carnage House magazine.
Oh shit, no shit.
So
we might be
we'll find that link and see if we can add it into the description.
Okay.
Oh my god, that was so good. # hey Joseph B. Wilk. Keep writing, dude.
Yeah, 5 out of 5. Keep writing. But
holy shit.
Do me a favor, stop writing about shit like
that.
No,
you can. I enjoyed that.
No,
I enjoyed it. All right. Well, our second story has. Are you okay, C-Dubs?
Yeah.
C-Dubs is kind of nauseous right now.
I'm so sick to my stomach right now.
Listen, our second story, I don't know if it's going to be as nasty, but it's by Bottom of the Barrel, Boddom.
Yo, Bottom, I'm fucking relying on you, dude. Please, for the love of God, give me something like cosmic. I can't do gore right now. I will fucking throw up all over this fucking place. You cannot fuck me like this, man.
Okay. So, Bottom of the Barrel, his real name is Noah Davila.
Davila?
Sure.
How's it spelled?
Davila.
Oh, Davila.
Davila. Anyways, Noah. I'm ready for it. Also, you guys can find Noah's master list of stories on their Reddit page. But with Bury Your Gods, I guess it ties with a series called Mother's Angel series. So maybe that's something we'll have to go look into and do that later. But anyways, Noah and Bottom of the Barrel, or because it's the same person, thank you so much for letting us share your story today. Are you ready, C-Dubs?
Yeah.
Can you handle this?
Probably.
Not, but... All right, here we go. Bury Your Gods by...
Bottom of the Barrel.
Don't judge C-Dubs. He's just nauseous.
Oh my God. I'm actually still so sick.
The city folk of...
Tio?
To be honest, I didn't know. The city folk of Tio crowded into the many plazas. A mass of families, merchants, and holy men filled in from the many archways and tunnels of the city like a colony of ants. The air was thick with chatter and the beating heat of the sun. Lady Tahoe made her way. Is that how you say that?
I'd imagine.
Tajo?
Yeah, Tahoe.
Made her way across the cobble street of her neighborhood, dragging her feet, staring down at her wrinkled hands. Cupped in her palms was a green copper statue, a woman in labor. A patina river poured from her, showing down onto the molted flowers of the figure base. The old woman caressed its flowing hair, remembering her long-deceased mother. She had fallen ill on the journey to this Cosmopolis, her soul sick with longing from home before she passed. She had entrusted Tahoe with the water bringer and the family trade. It was just one of a hundred of sea neighbors' idols surrounding her, one to each person. Even the children carried offerings, mostly corn dolls and trinkets of boogie men and warriors. She recognized many of the little ones. In the decades since her mother's passing, Lady Tahoe had become a highly respected midwife in the city. She was versed in the countless birthing rituals of the countless cultures that called the city home, and recognized many of the carved faces of the crowd. She scanned the crowd, noting the wild array of feathers, jewelry, and cloaks that surrounded her. A mosaic of clans and religious orders, cactus eaters, woodlanders, rivermen, everyone in Tio was either a refugee or the descendant of one. The city had stood for ages, from when gods made war over the earth and fire rained from the sky. They built the place as a safe harbor for their children, for anyone who sought safety from their more dangerous creations. At the end of the street lay the district plaza, where the crowd dispersed into the ever-growing mass. Lady Tahoe meandered on, watching as this crowd passed by her. A group lagged alongside her. A family of Delta folk whom she'd midwifed in the past in the city was the youngest, a little boy not even 5 years of age. Through his hands, he ran a length of continentalist much too big for him. Tahoe recognized the shells, ancient fossils from what was now a dried seabed to the north. She imagined the boy's father, a desert sailor, gifting the treasure to the boy before a long trip on the waterways. She couldn't help but notice, with sadness, that only his mother and older sister stood around the boy. He cried quietly to himself, tears falling on his father's parting gift. Ahead, a noise rose over the low chatter of the the low chattering of the crowd. Women laughing, one howling an unknown song. More healers, Lady Tahoe thought. She wondered at their joy among such a solemn procession. The crowd continued mumbling, unbothered, comfortable one another about their impeding offerings as they lurched towards the center of the plaza.
What can you do? It is the way it is.
Another noise rang out, a crank from the far side of the opening. A large pair of wooden gates swung forward, ushering in the group of ruddy men and their cargo. They worked slowly, carefully rolling a giant stone disc through the crowd. One man led the way, forcing open a path for his comrades. The procession dragged on, hours of shuffling, silently wheeling, the labored grunts of the stone bearers. Finally, the crowd began to disperse, and Lady Tahoe found herself among the final stragglers. Before her lay a large pit carved into the stone. Stone walls partitioned the opening into hundreds of square chambers, each stuffed with troves of glinting metal and jewels, carved stone, buckets of beads and shells. Tahoe reached the edge of the chasm, only herself, a Delta family remaining, and a pair of giant albino guards occupying the space. Surrounded by the new silent crowd, she paused, looking again at this figure and remembering her mother's final days. What would she think, giving up their patron idol as an offering? Would the water bringer understand the position she was in? Her focus was broken by a cry.
Ah! I won't!
The little boy cried, clutching the necklace to his chest. He turned on his wheels and tried to bolt for home. Like a flash of lightning, a guard seized him by the arm and brought him up off the ground. The boy kicked fruitlessly for freedom. The second guard approached, snatching the shells from the boy's body and discarding them into the chambers. Mother Toja placed her figure down in the panic, stumbling back from the scene.
No! It's mine! My pup!
In a moment, his cry was cut short. A knife had been produced, slashed, and disappeared before anyone realized. The boy's shrieks receded and were replaced with a wet gurgle. Screams rang out from the crowd. His mother and sister crumbled to the floor and wailed. Blood ran from his body, pouring down into the many idols like a waterfall of gore. Toja ran to the family side, wrapping them in her shawl as they beat their fists bloody against the stone. She blocked their views as the guard threw the boy's corpse onto the opening. His body lay crumpled, twisting and sinking between the many stones partitions.
Now, boys,
said the leader of the stone gang. They had come into the position over the pit during the commotion. Without a word, his men dropped the slab. The gaunt stone lid came careening down, crushing the mangled little boy down into a dozen different chambers, so fast that there were barely a moment for the squelching sound of flesh to escape the clamp of the stone seal. The cores fell into a silent shock, leaving only the woman under Tahoe's cloak to cry out. In the silence, we heard a similar scene echoing out across the city, screaming, followed by a loud slam, then silence. In a few seconds, the whole city fell in fatal quiet. Then the leader stepped forward, placing himself on the center of the seal. He scanned the crowd for a moment, his men forming a line behind him. The two guards broke off and stood at his side. His lips parted, and before words could come forth, the two men fell to their knees and slashed their own wrists.
Your gods are dead! Their day buried!
He spoke in the common tongue. Blood poured from their pale skin, running into the carved face of the disc on which they prostrated.
Your gods are dead! Their day buried!
He repeated, now in another language. Again came a phrase, again in a different language. He would not stop until all understood. As he recited, cackling grew from the crowd once more. Slowly, crone after crone emerging from the crowd, they stripped themselves as they went, exposing wrinkled and rotten flesh.
Your gods are dead! Their day buried!
They each dripped their arthritic hands into the growing pool of blood, laughter growing as they spread the crimson over their bodies.
Your gods are dead, their day buried.
Toja prayed quietly, filling with dread by the vile breed of which before her she held the mourners tighter, shielding them. Your saviors
are here.
And the leader, now in his own tongue, voice raising over the crones, howling. Tahoe knew this dialect, the same one that had driven her family from home, the same one that cast the blood magic that killed her mother, roadman. Below the speaker's feet, the carving had become clear. A horned owl, its face almost skeleton around him. The old woman rose to face the crowd and their bloody guide in unison, their long, bony arms stretched wide to their new subjects.
Embrace your mother! And that was
Bury
Your Gods by Bottom of the Barrel.
Okay, one thing real quick.
Okay.
So there was a Tajo, Tahoe, and Toja, Toja. I don't know if that's the same person and it accidentally auto-corrected or something, or if those are two separate people in the story, but it confused me. So, because that means we were looking at two people's perspectives. So just so you guys know, I'm not sure. That's why I kept stumbling upon that. So if Bottom of the Barrel could just let me know in the comments below. I'm so sorry if I butchered those names, but I'm curious on if that meant to be the same person or if it are two different people.
Okay, what are your thoughts?
It wasn't bad.
I like the culty vibe. Because what I enjoy about this is it's not directly horror. You know what I mean? It's an event that's taking place, which is horrible, horrifying. And so what I really like about it is it felt very, I'm going to say a word. Don't copyright us. Lovecraftian. Because it's them praying. It felt like a piece to a bigger puzzle, right? And that's how a lot of Lovecraft's stories are. It's not like, what was it? It's the something of Cthulhu. It's basically a big journal entry of this grandpa who has dove deep into Cthulhu and the legend of who Cthulhu is, right? And that's sort of the vibe I'm getting from this, where it's not necessarily the whole truth, right? It's not the whole story, but it's a piece of a bigger puzzle.
Yes.
Is this part of an anthology series?
I don't know if it's an anthology per se, but he did say that there's a Mother's Angel series which ties in with Bury Your Gods. So I don't know if this is a side story or if this actually is into the series.
Okay, if it ties in, I would like to read that before
we for sure give it a skip.
Yeah.
But what do you feel like just reading this?
Just reading this, I would put this at a solid 4 because not knowing, I understand the obscurity and the decision behind the obscurity, but there was the Tahoe mistake and stuff like that where there were certain words and names and stuff that kind of threw me off the trail.
I felt like I kept getting sidetracked versus staying on the same track.
Yes.
For me, personally, I would give it a high 3, mainly because I still want to read the series to see how it goes along.
That's fair. It definitely feels like we're reading a sequel, right?
It's just, I'm confused.
Something with established characters where we're supposed to know who everyone is, what they're doing.
Correct. And I think it's on us for not seeing that reading the series.
But I feel like it definitely played very well.
I think
really
so too.
Enjoyed it.
The reason why I give it a 3 though, a high 3, is first off, again, I feel like it had a good storyline, but it did feel like sometimes I would keep going on little detours, then getting back on the right path. And then also the names are just confusing me to the point where it made it hard for me to follow along.
It changed the entire output of the story.
Yes, and so because of that, that's why I say 3. But again, I would love to hear more, and I would love to read about the series.
Yes.
Because I think that could clear up a lot.
Yeah, I think we're just kind of getting whiplash because we're trying to enter a world that's already been established, and so like the Cthulhu series, I feel like if we were to establish a more grounded opinion about the story before entering into this one, then maybe we might understand a little bit more.
Correct.
So I will say, as of right now, bottom of the barrel, you are a. I'd even say
3 for me.
I'd even say a high 4.
See, I would high 3, but that's because, again, it's just the roadmap to me is just off a little bit. So that's why.
No,
but
that's
again,
fair.
I would love to hear more. I wanna know. I wanna talk with them and see, like.
I also liked how Aztec-y it kind of felt.
And I like the different names and stuff too. Like,
yeah.
I like. It felt different than some.
It felt very like post-apocalyptic. Aztec.
Correct.
Like that was a like Mesoamerican type of feel. But all right.
I like that. I like that a lot. So far, we've had 2 good stories.
Yeah, this episode was nice.
I like it.
Very refreshing.
It is. I like the shorter, where we can add a lot more stories, but I also do like the longer ones too, because it does help kind of break it up.
I feel like we're getting a taste of people who have a great idea and can execute it relatively well in different formats. And that's what I really enjoy.
I think it's fun. It's fun to see. Well, this next one is by By-Undertheleaveswewalk. I'm excited to read about it. I have no idea. But apparently, I guess, well, hold on. Okay, so I guess when I reached out to Under the Leaves We Walk, they said that they were actually new to Reddit.
Nice.
Rather new. So if you guys want to go follow a newer author, go follow Under the Leaves We Walk. And they say that they're crafting more stories and can't wait to. I don't know if they necessarily write just horror stories, but they're planning on, writing more horror stories, and they got some in the works. So I'm excited to kind of see who this author is and how they write and everything like that. So I'm excited to see.
Me too.
How they like it and everything too. So, anyways,
this story is called "Something Old Was Passing Through By."
Under the Leaves We Walk.
All right.
Here we go. Ready?
Ready.
A few years back, a pretty bad storm blew through my hometown. Trees were ripped from the ground, telephone lines fell across the roads, and it was a few days until the power came back on for those living in the further edges of town. Once things had calmed and the roads started opening back up, my dad and I decided to take a small trip to our family cabin to see if it had been damaged during the storm, or a tree had fallen over and blocked its only trail in or out of the forest. It was more of an excuse for both of us to do something together. So, one Saturday morning, we traveled up a short ways and found ourselves at the start of the trail. Normally, we would haul my dad's four-wheeler with us and ride it into the woods, but the muddy and slick terrain left over from the storm kept us on foot. Neither of us minded walking, especially me, since I was in the military at the time and was used to rucking it through worse conditions. Besides, it was nice getting a breath of fresh air while spending time with my dad as we walked through the forest, hills, and valleys I grew up exploring. About halfway up the trail, we had found fresh tracks along the trail, making a game of spotting where they picked back up in the patches of mud here and there. Some droppings that we passed were clearly from a bobcat based on the tufts of hair sticking from it, identifying what the tracks belonged to as we reached our cabin's property line. Up until then, the land had been owned by a lumber company that often cut down and replanted trees for a mill nearby. It was always easy to spot where the lumber company property ended and ours began by the sudden density of trees. It was also where the bobcat tracks simply stopped, in the middle of a muddy patch in the trail. They didn't veer off into the forest or anything. They simply stopped in the center of the wide patch. I didn't think much of it at the time, only casually pointing it out to my dad as we passed it. Thanks to the recent rain, the woods were pretty dense. The air was thick with the scent of forest and decaying leaves left over from the winter. Yet, as I enjoyed our walk, something in the back of my mind kept trying to tell me something. It was just a small nagging feeling at first, like that feeling of something tugging at the back of your brain as you get in the car to go to work in the morning before remembering you almost left your wallet or phone in the house. I ran through the short list of things I had on me at the time. Aside from my phone, wallet, and car keys, there wasn't anything else I was planning on carrying with me. Then it dawned on me. It wasn't what was on me, it was around me. Aside from the wind rustling, the thick canopy above, and the groans and creaking of the shifting trees, the forest was silent. In the spring at this time, the birds would normally be singing to one another as the squirrels barked at us for extruding on their territory. We would have at least heard the sound of woodpeckers as they made new homes for the year, since their knocking carried a long distance. But as we walked, I only heard the wind. Well, I didn't see any wildlife. It didn't feel like everything in the forest suddenly upped and left. It was more like everything was holding its breath, watching to see what would happen next. It was unsettling, and I couldn't shake the feeling that we were getting watched, but I kept it to myself as the cabin came into view. The cabin itself wasn't anything fancy. Just a regular box of plywood with a slanted roof and a small porch my dad somehow managed to haul into the woods years before I was even born. Painted green to match its surroundings, it was mostly used during deer season, when my dad and I would stay for the weekend to hunt and enjoy nature. We were never really bothered if we didn't bag anything that year, since it was mostly just our own small corner of the world where nobody bothered us. Even if someone wanted to get to us, only a few people knew that the cabin existed, and even fewer could actually find it. Cell reception was also pretty spotty that far out in the woods, making it isolated. However, when I stepped onto the porch and reached for the front door, something out of the corner of my eye turned my attention to the pile of firewood neatly stacked beside the door. Something was wedged between two pieces of wood. It took a little effort, but when I managed to pry it out, I found myself looking at a dark, flat stone that easily fit in the palm of my hand. Its edges were smooth and rounded, much like what you'd find in a creek bed or a rocky beach. Specks of white dotted its surface, reminding me of the enamelware we kept inside and brought with us on camping trips.
What's that?
My dad asked from over my shoulder.
Dunno.
I shrugged, turning the stone over in my hand before setting it back down on the pile of wood.
You leave it here? Never seen it before,
my dad admitted as we stepped inside. I only gave an absent-mindedly in a response. As I looked over the cabin's interior, there wasn't much space. Just enough for a small kitchen or even smaller diner table, and a set of twin bunk beds on either wall of the other end. The beds themselves were nothing more than wooden frames, one atop the other, with mouse-bitten slats of foam for the sleeping bags hanging from the rafters just overhead where mice couldn't chew at them. Beside the door sat a humble cast-iron stove that we used when things got cold in the fall. It was cool to the touch, adding to the idea that nobody had stepped inside since the last time my dad had come here on his own. The only thing making me doubt that was that stone.
You sure you didn't put that there?
I asked my dad as I opened the stove to see if it was empty. Not even ashes were inside.
Must have been Bill,
he remarked, not that interested. Bill was my dad's lifelong friend and one of the few who knew how to get to the cabin. He had also been a heavy smoker for about as long as my dad had known him, eventually leading to him having having to lug a tank of oxygen where he went. That made his visits to the cabin few and far between in recent years. Still, the possibility of someone other than themselves putting that stone there wasn't out of the realm of possibility, like the bobcat tracks. I didn't think of it much at the time. About an hour later, my dad and I went back to the porch, each of us sitting in our own folding chairs as we looked out into the woods. That odd silence was still lingering in the air, haunting me a little bit. I'd spent countless hours in these woods, as well as the woods around my parents' house as a kid. Being an only child living in the middle of nowhere, two busy parents often left me to my own fun outdoors, but never had I'd seen either forest as still as it was at the moment. Walking through the young tree fields have felt fine, but ever since we crossed the property line, it felt as if every eye in the forest was on me, despite never seeing a living thing. Soon, the feeling got the best of me, and I declared our mission of scouting out the cabin and trail a success. My dad agreed, and although we weren't there for as long as we normally were, he didn't remark on it, like I thought he would. The cabin was more a safe haven to him than it was me, often leading us staying there for at least a few hours, if not an entire week. As we put the cabin behind us, however, he did mention that he wanted to check on this salt lick he had set out the last time he visited a few months back. So we trekked through the underbrush to where it sat in an ancient tree stump a few dozen feet from the trail and within eyesight of the cabin. The area often was a shallow, muddy pit worn into the ground by the animals that often visited the lick. When it came into view, however, we saw that there was only a few tracks in the mud compared to dozens we often saw. Furthermore, the block of salt sitting on the stump looked nearly untouched.
You put this out a few months ago, right?
I questioned my dad as he took a closer look.
Yeah, back in March.
He confirmed. The tone of his voice suggested that he was just as puzzled as I was.
Looks like only one critter's gotten to it.
Walking around to his side of the stump, I could see a single deep groove in the side of the salt cube, like something had dragged its tongue across the lick over and over for what must have been hours. Normally, if the salt lick was even still around, it would have all kinds of different grooves worn into it, of different depths by different animals. Yet there was only one, the deepest I've seen something work into a block of salt. The tracks in the mud made me think the culprit was a deer until my dad bent down to get a closer look with a confused expression on his face.
What do you make of that?
He asked, pointing to the tracks as I knelt beside him. It took me a moment to realize that he was specifically pointing at. It wasn't so much the tracks themselves he was referring to, but the drag marks in the mud following them.
Looks like it was dragging its feet.
I said.
Think it was hurt?
My dad didn't respond at first, only giving the odd tracks another look before standing.
Well, I reckon we'd better head back to the homestead.
That was one of his more go-to lines when he was thinking something over. Something I noticed in the way the corner of his mouth bunched up like he had bitten his lip. I agreed. Following him back to the trail, I was entertaining the idea that someone else replaced the salt block. Maybe the same someone that left the stone, and when I felt something swing... Oh my god. I was entertaining the idea that someone else replaced the salt block. Maybe the same someone that left the stone. When I felt something swinging in my cargo pocket. Confused, I dug a hand in and pulled out the stone. Hadn't I put it back on the wood pile right after I found it? I opened my mouth to ask if my dad had pulled some sort of lame prank on me, but decided not to. I just put it back in my pocket and tried not to think about it. It wasn't long before we neared the property line again. Admittedly, I was a little relieved to finally be getting away from the suffocating silence. Thankfully, as we crossed over into the lumber fields, we left the eeriness behind as the woods came alive once again. After a little walking, we stopped on a split in the trail. The way we had come in on was the quickest and thus the one we wanted to make sure was clear of any fallen trees. The other split in the path circled around a thick field of narrow trees waiting to be turned into cheap sawdust and mulch. Ultimately, leading back to where the trail continues out of the forest.
Better see if anything's down that way.
My dad said, eyeing where the trail bent behind the tree field and disappeared.
Might as well while we're here.
I agreed with a shrug. So on we went, walking the long trail back to the car with the morning sun hanging over the treetops behind us. Without the canopy of the thicker part of the forest, I was starting to sweat a little, despite the air still carrying a slight chill left over from a particular harsh winter months prior. The walking was also growing more and more strenuous, as if the energy of my body was starting to leak out of me, like water dripping like a faucet. I slept just fine the night before and was wearing my favorite boots. My dad, a man 71 years young at the time, looked just fine walking beside me, yet it felt as if we'd been going for hours. Sure, it had been a few days since I had worked, but...
You sure do like that thing.
My dad interrupted my string of thought.
Huh?
I asked before looking down to see the stone in my hand, catching myself rhythmically turning it over and over. I stuffed it back in my pocket, not remembered when I took it out to begin with.
Yeah, I guess.
I said, that feeling of uneasiness washing over me once again.
Hey, let's take a breather for a second.
My dad nodded, remarking how the sweat was starting to soak into my shirt collar as we found a log nearby to sit on. As I caught my breath, I made a conscious effort to lace my fingers together like a student acting their best in front of their teacher. I didn't know how my hand snuck into the pocket to retrieve that stone without me knowing, but the idea unnerved me more than the silence. I sat up straight, a cold chill running down my back. As I looked around the silence, it was back, suffocating the sound of the forest around us. Without me even noticing until now, it was just like when we stopped onto our property line. Where the forest was at its most dense, a breeze blew through, almost as if it was to emphasize the point, making the still barren branches of the thin trees rattle like hollow bones.
All right. Let's get out of here,
I said decisively, standing up. My dad must have picked up on my urgency as he merely nodded. By the time we reached the main trail, I felt as if I missed an entire night's sleep. My eyelids felt heavy, my body sluggish and weary. The climb up some of the valleys in the second half of the trail leading back made me want to take a break, to build up enough strength to make it the rest of the way, but the silence pushed me to continue. It wasn't until we reached the foot of the final climb that the silence was broken by a call of something that sounded like an owl. It was faint, far off in the direction we had just come from, but something about it made my blood run cold. It wasn't obvious why it called again, somehow having the distance between us despite only calling out less than a minute ago. As I said, I had grown up in the middle of nowhere as a kid, and I wasn't a stranger when it came to an owl call. It was fun listening to them calling to one another when the sun went down and everything wound down for the day. The sun wasn't down, in fact, it was still overhead, sitting right at noon. Even then, owls didn't exclusively call out at night. What made me pause was the sound of it. It was like someone was attempting an owl call despite only ever having it described to them, never having heard it. It stirred deeply inside of me, something almost primal.
Get the hell away from us!
I suddenly found myself blurting out, stepping between my dad and whatever was calling.
Get out of here!
Another horrible call responded, having the distance again. I should have been able to see something, anything at that short of a distance, but there was only the wind.
You shouldn't be here!
I yelled, the effort making stars appear in my vision. Somewhere in the back of my mind, it felt like the statement belonged to us, not the other way around. I moved to rest my hand on a nearby tree to balance myself when I looked to see the stone clasped between my fingers, my knuckles white.
Just take it!
I bellowed, heaving all my weight into throwing it towards where the calls were coming from. The stone sailed through the air, turning and tumbling before bouncing off a tree, spinning out of sight. I never heard it hit the forest floor.
I like that. Hold on. I like that detail. That's a cool.
It is.
That's a cool little plug.
I like it. I turned and began bounding up the final last hill. My dad, silent through all of this, called after me, but I didn't hear him either. At about halfway up, I felt as if I was getting lighter. A few more steps and the heaviness of my eyes lifted. A couple of steps and I was moving, as if I didn't feel exhausted to begin with. Then I crested the top, huffing and puffing as I spotted the car sitting right where we left it nearby. With my hands on my knees, I tried to calm myself, focusing on the breathing, until a hand on my back made me jump. It was my dad, of course, wearing a concerned look.
Sorry.
I said, giving a sheepish smile as a wave of embarrassment fell over me.
Don't know what came over me. No worries.
He said, returning a smile and dismissive wave.
Shit happens.
With that, we piled into the car and never spoke of the accident again. Not to each other, at least. I haven't experienced anything like that. Like what I had felt that day. Hope to never go through that again. Sometimes I think it wasn't anything other than my mind playing tricks on me. Other times I think something very old, something feared by the land itself was passing through, and we were simply at the wrong place at the wrong time. To this day I maintain that this isn't a campfire story, but a true retelling of what I experienced. Please, if anyone has ever experienced anything like that, anything like what I had encountered today, get a hold of me. It'd be nice to know I'm not alone in this. Thank you for taking the time out of your day to read this.
And that was Something Old Was Passing Through.
Bye.
Under the Leaves We Walked. Okay.
How'd you feel?
I felt like I was listening to like a friend tell me the scariest experience of his life. That's how I felt.
I feel that. Like around the campfire or something?
Yeah, like something like you just dropped like a crazy paranormal story that you totally just made up. And then your buddy's like, oh.
Do I have a story for you?
Yeah, I got a story for you. And then he drops this and it's like, oh, that's good, neat. You know, is that a good way to explain it?
Yeah.
I feel like there was a lot here, and if it is based on personal experience, it's very realistic.
Yes. Like I could see somebody around a campfire saying this story.
Yes. I could definitely see it. Like, this would be a fun one to be like, and then I didn't see anything crazy, but it happened. It really happened. You know, and that, I don't know, I feel like there's a lot of stuff that was very interesting, a very interesting way to address the elephant in the room. Right?
Yes.
Like, you have the owl at noon making the human-like bad owl call.
Yeah. I like the little added details in that.
It was very obscure. It played on anonymity. Something like that. It played on that very well because it definitely didn't give us the creature. And I can appreciate that if it's done well, and I feel like this wasn't done terrible. This definitely felt like a campfire story, and so...
What would you rate it?
Well, I'm going to rate it like if I was sitting at a campfire story and someone told me this. I would probably rate it about a 3. I feel like this would be a good, fun one to hear. There's definitely some places, like I wrote down some notes. We did a big description drop that didn't really take us anywhere in the story. It was of the buddy's, or the dad's friend.
Yeah.
Didn't necessarily need that.
Like, I get that the dad's buddy had access to the cabin, but that's all I needed.
Yeah, that's, and you could have been like, yeah, his buddy of like 15 years, and that's all it really needed.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like that's one of my bigger ones. Another one is space out the descriptions, because what we're getting a lot of in this story is like, yeah, this guy, so like my dad, he has this cabin. Yeah, and this cabin is like, this is how it looks, and it looks really cool and really decrepit and old and fun to camp out in, and this is what we do in it. And then you get on with the story, where if you were to space out those descriptions a little bit more, it would even out the pace rather than fat description to thin story.
Yeah.
It would just even it out, make it a little bit more digestible.
See, that's what I was going to mention that. I was going to say, I love the description. I feel like you did really good on wording wise, description wise. It just felt like there was really big, long stretches of description versus dialogue or story.
Yeah, and I don't think it's a bad story.
I don't think so at all.
I think it was a very fun premise of going out with your dad. I've done it. You know, I think most of us have been out with a friend or a
family member
or someone in the forest, and like
forest
something
is creepy.
Something freaky happens, and then you're like, oh, well, that's kind of fucked up.
Can't help but look over your shoulder.
Yeah, it's freaky. It's a freaky place to be.
Yeah.
But I feel like there's just those little additions that would really help move this story along. And it might shorten it. That's what I've noticed, like, because I struggle with the same thing where I have fat descriptions of things I want to be known about people. You'll see it a lot in my stories. But what I've learned throughout the years of writing is you definitely the readers just want the fat.
Sometimes, this is what I say, sometimes there's good fluff and sometimes there's over fluffing.
Yes.
And to me, it was a little bit more on the verge of over fluffing than I like this fluff. The fluff I'm saying is like descriptions or, you know, kind of rehashing out the fact that they're in the cabin or rehashing out, you know, does that make sense?
Yeah,
like,
it felt very repetitive of like, oh yeah, we're in this cabin. Remember, we're all by ourselves. It's isolated.
And only a few people have the key.
And only a few people.
Yeah.
So I feel like that would be my suggestion. I feel like my reactions are also relatively dulled right now because of Let It Gush. So I apologize. I am still in full recovery.
But I also, like, even just reading it, I think the premise is great. I think, because for me, it was more realistic than that gore or something, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, there was still that kind of creepiness to it, but it felt like this story was more realistic in the sense of I could put myself into him.
Yes.
Like I could see myself with me and my dad going to this cabin and saying, holy crap, it feels like something's off.
It's very uncanny.
You know, it is. And so I love that premise because you don't really get those a lot, I don't think, anymore. Or not anymore, but I don't feel like we've been reading a lot of like, I could put myself in that position.
Yes.
So I love the realistic view of that. For me, I will say you don't need as much fluff as you do. And so for me, I'm going to give it a high 3.
Okay.
For me. Because to me, it's like, I want to keep reading your stories. I think it's great. But here's my few insights.
Yeah, I don't think it's quite a 2, but it's definitely a 3.
Yeah. And I also, again, I give it a high 3 because I could see myself in the guy's position. And the realism in it, that's why I like that.
Yes, I agree.
Well, with that being said, we are going to end this podcast. But I really hope that you guys like these 3 stories. I know I did, and I know that CW is still figuring out if he wants to eat dinner or not.
End the episode and not the podcast.
What'd I say?
You're like, we're going to end the podcast.
Oh, I'm sorry. End the episode here.
There you go.
And I just want to say thank you again for you guys letting us share your stories. These have been fun, and I don't think we've done any of you, like, your guys' stories yet. So it's been fun to see these new authors that we are able to read. Comment down below if you guys want to explain more, or if you guys want to, feel free to reach out to us. What would you guys rate your own stories or these other stories? What would you guys rate each other's stories? Anything else?
Yeah, #spooky. I'm going to send you a picture of my throw up.
#spooky. Can you please seriously print it off, sign it, and send it to me? Because I'm going to frame it.
I'm going to send you a picture of my Ralphing throw up. It's gonna be green and...
Don't you want to just send them a picture of your pimples? All right, you guys. Thank you so much for tuning in today. You guys have been amazing. I hope you guys enjoyed this podcast. And if you haven't already, comment, like, share, subscribe. If you already are subscribed, go subscribe to our YouTube. And if you're listening on Spotify, and if you're listening on YouTube, go subscribe to our Spotify.
Hell, subscribe to it all.
Subscribe to it all. We will see you next week.
Yep. Thank you guys. We appreciate everything you guys have done for us, and we look forward to our next time.
And with that,
You
have
been
scaled. Peace.
doses.